you yesterday. Were you at Yankee? How's everything? Yeah.
I mean, this is so much more guys.
I was watching it at home.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm still on the old.
That on one does not have like. I was watching the OJ show on another TV. And I made the executive decision to go to the OJ show. Have you seen it?
I'm watching it.
Isn't it like not
very good.
bad in its own weird way?
It's very interesting. There's some good, some interesting insights. Because like, I mean, I don't even remember following
Dynamo head coach Owen Coyle. Owen, if you would, just your initial reactions to the match tonight.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt it was certainly an entertaining game. I thought it was two very good sides, two very attack-minded sides going all out to win a game. My disappointment, as always, will be when you've lost a game that you seem comfortable in. And I mean, I've got to credit Red Bulls. I think they really pushed on the second half, trying to get back into the game. But for us, I mean, I think we've got to, deal with that better in respect of a little bit of game management in the second period. And I think really that was our undoing. Out with, I've got to say, I mean, two world-class strikes from the lad for the third and fourth goals. But he's capable of that. I mean, they have some very good players. But my disappointment, I think we could have passed and moved the ball better in the second half, and that would have certainly lessened the pressure that was coming on us at different times. By doing that, again, it would have resulted in more chances for ourselves because we looked a threat all night. And even then, I mean, the spirit they have, you see at 4-3 when teams would feel sorry for themselves, thinking everything's went against them with the two world-class strikes. We have a wonderful chance to equalise, and I think it smashed off the lad's face in the dying seconds. So there was the disappointments losing the 3 points, but again, there was huge positives from how we're going about it. I did say at the start of the season we've been an exciting team, but you certainly don't want to keep adding to the grey hairs that I've got. That's we've had some fantastic games, but when all said and done, the important thing is that we gather enough points to be pushing ourselves into those playoffs, and we still certainly believe, as much as we're only 3 games into it, we have the nucleus of a squad that can do that. I mean, I would have loved to have came here with, I've said Joe Willis was outstanding. Obviously we have Tyler Derrick, we have Giles Barnes, Chuck Maidana, but the boys that stepped in, well, we showed that we're building a decent squad, a decent roster to come to the Supporter Shield champions, and a great atmosphere in the stadium, and give a lot of really big positive performance within the performance, but understanding that again that there's moments I felt that we could have defended better. I thought the second goal was probably a calamity of errors that resulted in equaliser, but again we pick ourselves up and score a wonderful goal. But again, we can't go every game, and certainly going from a shutout last week to losing 4 goals tonight, albeit a couple of special goals within that. The first one, I'm not sure if the boy caught DeMarcus Beasley in the calf. Regardless, again, we got up well brewing, 2 fantastic finishes, and we looked a real threat all night. So disappointing, of course, not to get any points from the game, but again, we'll take huge positives from that. I think going forward, it's 11 goals in 3 games, but equally, we need to address it, that we need to be tighter at the back, regardless of the quality of the opposition we play against.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and open up for questions. We'll start over here on the left with.
Hello, Coach. Just wondering, you mentioned once his being out of the lineup. If he was there, he'd done a little bit for you possession-wise.
Well, I think there's some merit in that. I mean, that's not with taking away anything from the lads we had available, because every one of them, listen, I never question their work rate and their how conscientious they are for the group and the club. But of course, Maidana has wonderful quality, and particularly when a team's throwing everything forward, as Red Bull had to. They had to risk everything, and I think then we could have picked them off with better selection of pass, and that was the frustration on my part in the second half, because I felt passed it as well as we could coming out of that middle third in the defensive areas, and that it really allowed more pressure, just waves of attack from Red Bull for a 10-minute period, if truth be told. And I think Barnes with the explosive pace in the wide area as well would certainly have helped. But you can never say that. Regardless of who we had, we were in a terrific winning position tonight. And that's the bit that those players, whoever's asked to take the field, have got to understand how to see a game through. There's going to be periods with the quality within MLS that you're going to have to stand up and be brave in so many different ways. And bravery doesn't come just in the form of making tackles and headers. Bravery comes in being the man to stand on the ball, make good passes in possession, and be the guy who makes a difference. And I think if we had a little bit of that in the second half, I think we could have went on to score more goals and probably win the game more comfortably. But because we never allowed a very good Red Bull team to keep a real concerted pressure on our final third, if truth be told, and ultimately when you do that, the third and fourth goal are, I've got no doubt, for me, world-class strikes. I've been fortunate to work with some very good players and competed against some terrific players, and certainly the second one, the free kick, but the first one from the wide area, I mean, it was just a touch of class.
Okay, we'll stay on the left and then come down to the aisle.
2 questions for you, Owen. First things first. Joe Willis had, like you said, you're only disappointed he only didn't get any form of points, but Joe Willis stood on his head most of the match tonight. I mean, he was absolutely spectacular in goal.
Totally agree with that.
But secondly, the Red Bulls had 3 substitutions that were all injury related. Have you ever had, I either as a player or a manager, where you had to make all 3 substitutions for injuries only, nothing tactical?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have that. I mean, I've not done any more than 3 because that's the maximum you can have. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and then again, the disappointment for me from that end is that's when, with all due respect, we should have been looking to take more care of the ball, because we looked a threat all night against when the Red Bull had their first 11 on the field. But again, that's, that can happen. I think it's not something that you plan for, and Jesse wouldn't have planned for it. It's an uncontrollable. It's like sometimes a decision or something goes against you, whatever, a genuine uncontrollable, and that's what happened. But again, they showed they've got a good squad. They didn't win the supporters' both games against Toronto and Montreal, and at various times in the games, they had key moments that they could have scored goals and went on to have achieved points in the game. So we knew it was going to be a tough game. We're very respectful of that, and I think equally, Jesse knew we're a good side. We know that we will, moving forward, we will continue to get better. Frustrating tonight, absolutely. My disappointments for the group, for the players, because they never achieved the positive points and result that we wanted. But I do know moving forward that, as I said before, that we'll have an exciting team, a team that people want to watch, and a team that, when we put it all together, can win games, and that's what we're after, that's what we're looking to do.
Okay, come down in the front here.
Here you go. Coach, when Ronald Zubar comes off, I mean, that's their 3rd sub. Both center backs are out for them. At that point, are you looking at this game like, you guys can blow this open? And were you almost surprised that your attack did better against their full squad than after the subs? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's tremendous merit in the question. It's a very good question. I do think, regardless of what happens, any of those players, it's such a special game that we're involved in. I mean, the best game in the world globally, and that's why we love. But you can never. It's so unpredictable, because things like that can happen. As you say, they're 2 first choice centre backs. Although I think we exploited that when they were both in the field. So, and sometimes maybe it was a blessing. I don't know, because we'd really we got at them, we'd punished them, and so with hindsight, maybe it worked out for them. I don't know. My disappointment was that we never, to your point, we never passed the ball as well enough in the second half that would have caused them more harm. And I think, even late on when we pushed on for the equaliser, that was more through guts and spirit than actually passing the ball really well. We showed, as I said before, I know how big their hearts are in the team, and they'll always give us that. But what I want to do is just to add a little bit of finesse, a bit of game management to them. And if we do that, then I'm convinced that we can win a lot of games.
Okay, go back on the island, 3 rows back there.
How much different did you see from the spirit of the team this year, as opposed to if they had been in the same situation last year, going down early on the road?
Yeah, I think that it's a very good question. I think they know as a group. I think they know they can win games. I think they have that belief. Of course, there was things that happened tonight that we want to make sure we get better at. And there'll be different things. We'll go and we'll analyse that and we'll look to that. But you're right. I mean, they have that belief. They know. And they're growing. I mean, there's so many changes from last season, even personnel-wise. And again, we missed some valuable players tonight as well. But we know moving forward, as the MLS is, it's a tough environment. Every game, whether it be home or away, you're always tested, you're always challenged because of the quality that the league now holds. And we have to make sure that we're ready for that. But, I know how gutsy they are, I know how brave they are. And as I say, we'll dust ourselves down and take our medicine, because that's what you need to. It's a slap in the teeth, I believe, given the position we're in. But we'll take that hurt and we'll look to use it as a positive, pick ourselves up and be ready to go again, because when people were talking last week after 2 games, nothing's decided over 3, 4, it's decided over 34. And we have to make sure the good stuff that we're doing, that we make sure that we improve on the other bits and pieces. And if we do that, then we're set for a good season.
Okay, we'll do one last question in the back here.
Coach, how pleased are you with Boniek's performance playing in this unusual position?
Yeah, well, obviously with Chaco Maidana going down, and I mean that's a source of. Sorry, I'll answer the question in a minute. Forgive me for going away in a tangent, but that's a source of frustration as well. That for me, Chaco Maidana misses a game through the injury he received last week, and the player was unpunished. I felt it was a red card, and even when they looked at it, they never. So that player's then eligible to play this week, and we have a player missing. So that's a huge frustration to begin with. And you're right. I mean, because Chaco is a specialist number 10, if you want, for a better phrase. But Boniek does well. Boniek is, he's a clever player. He's a different skill set. But for me, there was no problem. Boniek did very well in the game. He works hard for the team. He has great ability, as you know, and he's a very unselfish player. He plays for the team first and foremost, and those players are of huge value. So, we're pleased with Boniek. Thank you.
Owen, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Thanks for your time.
Timothy Quinn, everyone just raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. I will start first to your left to Glenn.
Congrats, Jesse. I suppose the first half, it couldn't have gone any worse. I mean, you come in needing a win, up a goal, and then giving up 2 goals on defensive errors.
Yeah.
2 players substituted for injury. I mean, it must have. What was the halftime locker room like? Because there seemed to be some frustration.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing for me was watching our team play nervy and a bit scared in the first half. Like, we lost 2 games, and guys don't want to lose balls, and guys don't want to make mistakes. And I just tried to say to him at halftime, like, we've never been a team that plays scared, right? And the very first conversation I had with our team way back when was that the only thing there's no tolerance for around here is not playing with everything you have. And I just told them, I don't care if we lose this game, go out and play, right? Go after the game. And we needed some guys to step up. We needed some guys to make some plays. Obviously, Felipe does. And we almost needed a performance like that to kind of bring some life back into our team. So that part was good. And it's a little bit funny. This can be an interesting business, and it's not for the weak of the heart. And it rewards people and players that are brave and have courage and want to be in the toughest moments. And it's one of the things I like about this business is that when things get tough, that's when, for me, it gets to be the most fun. So I guess I had fun tonight.
Jesse, we'll give it to your right to Russ.
One thing I noticed in the second half was a little bit of the chip on the shoulder that you guys had last year. Talk about that. Where did it come from? What was missing the last 2 games?
Well, again, so much of the talk about our team winds up being about, and listen, some of it comes from me too. It's about the high press system and the tactics and how we do things, and I've always said that that's only a piece of the puzzle. But what I think makes us is a real strong mentality and a commitment for each other and a commitment to play for each other, and then doing it at big moments. And so. I think that hopefully, I believe this, that tonight will be a reminder of that. Because above everything else, you could just second half, you could throw everything else out the window. It wasn't really even a soccer game. It was now just like a brawl, and it was who's gonna survive, who's gonna emerge, and in the end, I'm proud of our guys for in that moment stepping up.
Jesse, we'll go to your right with Michael.
Yeah, congratulations. I got 2 questions, 2 different ones. One, how much did this team need a victory like this going into the break? And more of a tactical issue, how restricted did you feel without not being able to make with that center backs and also not being able to make subs in the second half the way you wanted to.
I was just pointing out that was 3 questions. Just kidding.
Can I ask a 4th?
Well, okay. So, yes, the first answer, we needed a game like this. And the second answer sort of feeds to that is now when I have no subs to make, then I have nothing to do with the game anymore. It's them. And it's now their turn to do everything they can to find a way to win the game. And that was probably a good thing. The coach could just stay out of the way, and now it was time for the players to show what they're made of and step up. So, maybe that's a lesson for me moving forward.
We'll go next here in the front to Ivis.
Just see the Zubar comes out, and you have to move Kamar Lawrence to center back. How much have you guys trained that, practiced that, or seen of that? And secondly, after their goal to make 3-2, it seemed like that triggered something in the team, particularly in the midfield, because it seemed like your central midfield wasn't having the kind of game you expect from them. But after that, even before the goals, Felipe and Dax, they seemed to turn it on. Did you see that after that goal?
Yes. So Kamar at center back actually has been a discussion. We haven't worked on it much. And funny, the only other time that we've used him at center back was last year at Houston. So now twice he's played center back and twice against Houston. There's potential for that to be a spot for him. It's just, we think very highly of him at left back, but he has qualities that could fit us to play center back. So Given the injuries, I'm not sure how long guys will be out, but that may be something that we have to consider moving forward. And yeah, I mean, at halftime, when I talked to them about, showing some heart and some courage, I told Dax that, this is when you need a captain, and we needed him to, in all ways, to use his bravery and his belief and confidence and swagger, that had to be a big part of helping our team rise to the challenge. And then obviously Felipe makes some great plays. So, I mean, those guys are the heart of our team, and they have been, since I've been here. So we're going to need those three guys again to now show what they're all about and now help our team continue to drive forward.
We'll go next, center row to Matt.
Congrats on the win, Jesse. You talked a little bit about it before, but after Gonzalo went off, it seemed like you guys lost a little bit in the attacking half for basically up until halftime. Then you kind of kicked it into second gear in the second half. So how can you describe the resilience in your team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Gonzalo was pretty explosive at different moments in the first half, but I still didn't feel like we were playing with, again, we were nervy. We didn't play with a lot of confidence. At halftime, we talked, we gathered ourselves, we switched to 3 instead of 2. And then, we kind of just tried to say, again, it wasn't at that point about tactics or anything. It was just about how bad did they want it. And again, it was good to see him step up.
We'll go back of the room to the right.
Jesse, having the injuries and making the substitutions, you think it helped the team to get that 4-3 tonight?
Well, I mean, that's not how you would draw it up, but I think, again, the fact that there were no subs left in the second half and that we clawed our way back in the game and then we gave a goal back right away, I felt strongly that if we could step on at halftime, I told them that I felt strongly that if they could go on the field and believe and play and not be scared, that we were going to win the game. And it didn't matter what happened in the game at that, I mean, we got ourselves back in, then we went down again, but the fact that we kept going after the game, then they believed it as well. So that part was good. And again, without any subs, then they all know that it's up to those 11 guys to make it happen.
We'll go front left to Jesse. Or, I mean, to Jesse's left to Dan.
You can ask your own question. Well, let me ask you this. When you were playing either in high school or college or in MLS, was there ever a time that all 3 substitutions that were made were based on injury and nothing tactical like you just had today? Was there ever a time that ever happened?
It was a weird game in many ways. I don't know that was the case. I remember one year in Chivas we had a game where a bunch of guys got hurt, and it was similar to this. We had some losses in a row, and actually Atiba Harris made a bunch of big plays and helped us, and we won the game at home and came back. So maybe it was a little bit like that, but one of you guys asked already. I hope this. I think this is what we needed, and I think this is the kind of game that can define a season in many ways.
We'll go to the left to Glenn.
So the last substitution. So to me, there was a little decision you had to make, but maybe not. Did you consider just playing 3 at the back and putting in an attacking
I was pretty
player?
clear that it was going to. Connor played center back in college. And Connor's asking me, do you want me to play center back? And I'm going, no, you're playing left back. And he goes, you sure? And I go, yes, you're playing left back, but Kamar's center back. And the word is that when he played center back in college that he was quite good. But with the size, with Bruin and the different guys that they have up high, I felt that having Kamar back there to battle for some area balls was going to be important. And Connor came in. There's the thing I'll say about Carl and Connor coming in is 2 things that define them as players and as people are that they are 2 of the most brave guys on our team, and they're never afraid of big moments. If every time they're called on, I know they'll be ready to go. And in that sense, I thought that they stepped up and they brought some of that to our team tonight. So that was great.
We'll take 2 more first to the right.
Jesse, it looked like Mike and Connor were very, very connected tonight. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Well, I thought that Mike got him. I thought Mike helped the game from in the first half too. And he just, that's one thing about Mike is a confident kid. And so when he plays, he starts getting touches on the ball and moving around in the game and wrong footing guys. He can I think really affect the game in big ways, like we've seen. And then I thought that now when Mike starts to come inside and really find the game, that leaves room for Connor to be pushing up on the wing and there was little movements, and then Connor joining in late and creating some advantages there on that side, and I think that was a big part of us really tactically getting in the game. And Connor he runs his butt off. He never stops. So that part was great.
We'll take our last question to Tom in the back.
Jesse, I think in the 61st minute, Felipe got a yellow card for DeSanta. I don't know, he thought it was a handball or something. But when a player gets a yellow, sometimes he kind of disappears for the rest of the night. You think that woke him up?
No, I think he at halftime he knew he needed to step up. They all did. And I think again, if the two guys in our team that have like grit and competitive edge are Dax and Felipe, and that's as much as there's been talk again about them tactically and what they do in different ways, and we have other talented players that play that spot, like Sean Davis. I think Tyler Adams is going to be a contributor this year, and clearly Sasha. But the fact that those two guys are in the middle of the midfield for us, I think that makes our team in many ways, because they're just so gritty and they don't ever want to lose. And I've seen it every day in training. Some days I have to like calm them down and but that's what makes them special. And that's frankly what we need.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.